Welcome to the world's fastest growing podcast that interviews random Todds and asks them unpredictable questions in a series of wacky segments.
Here at the Toddcast, we believe every Todd has a story, and we want to hear it.
It's a real head bobber.
Yeah, it's a banger, as they've said.
Oh, look at this! Look at this! Where was that during the beginning?
I was just getting into that then. I was just, damn. Oh well, we could play it later.
Oh yeah. All right. So welcome in, everybody. It's our favorite time. It's time to go down under again to the land that we all love, Australia. Today we are joined by fellow podcaster Todd Morris, who has a podcast named, well, the Toddcast. Find him on Instagram at Toddcast _. Welcome in, Todd. Thanks for it's early morning, or not really mid-morning over there for you, but thanks for taking the time out to join us.
No worries. Thank you very much for getting me on board, and appreciate it.
Oh yeah, we appreciate the flexibility with our time scheduling. I know it's always weird doing these US with featuring the Australians or vice versa. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, I was kind of excited thinking that I'd be the first Aussie, and then I wasn't. So, oh well.
Yeah, Todd Balls beat you to it.
Yeah, at Todd Balls. Now,
I listened a little bit to the Todd Balls preview that you had. It sounded great.
Oh yeah, he was a blast.
I should reach out to Balls.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, you should reach out to Todd Balls. I think that would be a great collab.
He's in Melbourne as well, right?
He is.
Yes. Yeah. So
should get him on the show.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, fine. There we go. Todd Balls is just going to be on every podcast known now. So I do have
Todd Balls.
So I do have one question. So I brought it up. Land down under. That's everyone says that. In Australia, do you call the America the land up over?
No, we don't, unfortunately. We call you depending on who you're speaking to. It can be less things that are nice, but I love the US.
Understandable.
I'm a bit of a US fanboy. I like a lot of the US culture, where sports, movies, and music, I guess, are your biggest exports, and I really love I love US culture. So, but yeah, it's funny. Australia is, I guess, founded by the English. So be careful on that topic. But there is a huge US influence in Australia, and some people embrace it, and some people don't like it. So it's interesting who you ask. Yeah,
that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
But I'm a fan. I'm on board.
Have you been over here much?
I haven't.
Oh, nice. We've never been there, so.
Yeah, well, you're more than welcome to come down when we're allowed to travel. Yeah. But one thing I regret, I've actually never been overseas. So there you go. I'm 33 years old. I've never traveled, which is one thing that I regret. I got stuck into a career, but I'm sure we'll get into that later. But yeah, I've never traveled. So US is definitely on my list. I want to do the East Coast. I want to do the West Coast, and I really want to go to Texas. I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah. I'm kind of in that same boat with you. I'm 30 and I've never left the country. So at some point I will, though.
Oh, let's do it. Let's meet in Europe.
Ooh, there we go.
I like it.
I saw that you did there was a clip on your Instagram from earlier in the year with your friend Bianca talking about bad date stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do you have any bad date stories that you want to talk about? Because I heard some of hers and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, hers was quite interesting. The funeral date where she had a date take her to a cemetery.
Yeah, that was that was rough.
kind of spooky, but I could see like that guy's angle, right? Like, you know, like he's like, it's a bit of a peacock move. Like, let me take you to in terms of bad dates, I've had some bad ones in terms of the person that I've met hasn't like, or I thought like wasn't the person that I was meant to meet online. Like, so I've done a little bit of online dating. And then when the photos like kind of don't match up, or the photos are when they're much younger, that's as far as it gets in terms of bad date stories. But I guess you get what you put out, right? So I guess I'd be kind of a good host. So I've kind of never had a real tricky situation. It's probably harder for some of the girls to end up in bad date situations, as you know, they tend to, guys tend to be really weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I've never had any like really crazy or bad ones. It's not a great content piece response, but it's been relatively smooth sailing from me. Other than
that's good.
I have met people that don't look like what they think what their pictures look like. Other than that, it's been okay. And those ones are an early exit. You know, exit stage left. But I try and do. Yeah, you try and do something a little bit light on the first catch up, and then go from there. But
that's good. I mean, that you got to consider yourself fortunate, because there's some of the stories out there are really, really bad. So if you haven't had any of the crazy ones, you're doing all right.
You're doing all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Brad, have you ever been catfished?
Catfished, a couple times. Not to the point where I've like given them money or like met up with them. Yeah. Like it's got to the point. I don't think I've ever been officially catfished, but I've went pretty much to the point where I'm like, okay, you're not FaceTiming, you're not sending pictures. Any of the pictures you have sent, Google reverse image searching and it shows up somewhere else. Like, at least I'm tech savvy enough to do that. Some of these people on the show Catfish and things like that, it's like celebrity pictures that they're getting sent. And they're like, oh, I'm talking to this person. I was like, that's Christina Aguilera, man. Like, you not know that? Right. Like you look like Steve Buscemi, and this is Christina Aguilera. So, so I've never been fully catfished, thankfully.
Oh man.
The sad takeaway from that is that, you know, people will do anything for love, right? Once they think they have a connection, all logic kind of goes out the window. Like, you know, they see that's a celebrity image and they're just like, this is the one. And they're more hooked up on that than all the warning signs, you know, all the red flags. It's sad, but I guess that's, people want connection. So.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, there's people out there that they just want love. They just want to be held.
Just want some hugs, man.
That's all. I'm in it for the hugs.
Man, well, maybe we'll hear about some times Todd's been held in our first segment.
Once upon a Todd.
Yeah, that's all we want to hear about is just times you've been held.
That's what this whole segment is about. It's about the times you've been held. No, but this is really this is basically a segment that we just hear a little bit more about you. And the first thing I want to talk about is tell us a little bit about your podcast, or shall I say Toddcast?
Ooh. Yeah, well, like I guess it's a bit of a recurring theme. I don't know if the same in the US. Well, obviously with podcasts blowing up, anytime someone gets drunk or whatever, it's like, yeah, let's make a podcast. So that kind of momentum for me got carried away a little bit, and I'm the type of person that will go out and buy all the gear but have absolutely no idea. So all the gear and no idea is me, and I fell in love, to be honest. I fell in love with Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan experience, the JRE, and I think so many fellow podcasters have. He's the absolute podfather, and then that whole family like Joey Diaz and so forth, you kind of you fall in love with them, and then it comes across that it's so achievable to be able to do that because of the way that they have candid conversation. But then in fact, once you go to execute that, it can be quite tough. So I plan to get it up and running again. I've only got 4 episodes that are live. I've got 2 episodes that I haven't I've recorded but I haven't released. which I will get released. But I kind of put it on hold with COVID because I live in Melbourne and we had some really strict lockdown conditions. So I really like the face-to-face. You know, these Zoom meetings are great, but I feel that the face-to-face that you get and that energy that you can swap and so forth is much better. So I kind of put my podcast on hold for that. So now with the restrictions coming to lift, I'll look to produce more episodes. But the theme of the podcast is actually the guests themselves, a little bit like this in terms of that the theme is the guest, but I'll have no particular one overbearing topic. It will be whatever. The first couple of episodes were some friends, and then I had a pretty big Australian identity, who was a bookmaker and a technology a guru and investor named Tom Waterhouse on board. So Tom Waterhouse is quite big. His family is quite famous in Australia. So I got him on board and yeah, we just talked about his business and how he operates and so forth. So it was kind of that thing. But yeah, I want to emulate the Joe Rogan experience as much as possible, and just have that out there. I'm not a comedian or anything, and I guess that helps the podcast, but just more of his podcast where he has people on and talks about everyday things. I think that's what I really like and appreciate. So if I can do that, the aim for me is to get to 100 episodes. That's kind of my mini goal. I'm at 4, so 96 to go.
It's better than being at 0. So
yeah, that's
you got to start on it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you've got like the Joe Rogan mic set up.
Yeah, you're doing a good stuff over there.
So yeah, look, my setup's pretty cool. I got the Rodecaster Pro. I don't know if anyone is into podcasting. And then, again, like I said, I'm a kind of guy that's got all the gear and no idea. So I went out, invested a fair bit, and I've even got like a little studio that I rent out. It was just silly.
We saw that. It's
awesome.
Kind of jealous actually. We have no idea what we're gonna do in the future with this. Everything is Zoom right now, so I don't know if we'll ever be able to. I mean, we'll probably at some point find some local Todds, but I mean, our demographic is all over the place. So unless we're traveling to these places, like a lot of it may have to be through Zoom.
Well, that's cool though. Like it's cool. I appreciate it, but just for I don't know, I want to have good long form, deep conversations, and I think that should be done, face to face.
Yeah. I think the face-to-face is always, you always take it. It seems to take things a lot further, which is nice. I mean, the Zoom, you kind of scratch the surface, but if you're face-to-face, it seems like you can just, I don't know, you feed off each other a lot better.
We are getting better at chatting over Zoom though. It's just practice, I think. Look, a lot of my work commitments and these sorts of things are happening on Zoom, and you're just getting more and more comfortable with it. So I think give it another 24 months, it may just be the way. And people will be really comfortable and in their own skin, and away they go. So
are we going to go back to like talking face to face, and everyone's going to have like this lag between everything they say because they're so used to it on Zoom?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, with the face-to-face ones, you have to wear pants. Like these ones, we don't wear pants. This is a pantsless podcast.
That's right.
I hope you got
that.
I mean, you don't have pants on, right?
Well, I didn't think it was required.
It's never required. Yeah, this is the Toddcast. Yeah. No pants.
I threw a shirt on because I didn't want to throw the audience off. But normally, that's kind of the work from home attire is nothing, right?
Yeah, just nude, straight nude. Toss on a shirt for some of your business meetings, and then take it off once it's done.
Well, that's right. Yeah. This is why this is just a generic white shirt, because that is my shirt to cover up my nakedness for my work meeting. So I just got it just hanging in the background.
Yeah. That's the way to do it. I kind of adopted that right as we started the working from home. Like the first week, I kind of kept a regular attire for work. And then after that, I was like, why am I doing this? Let me wake up 5 minutes before I need to go to work, toss on a shirt, and roll up to the desk. Like, it's good times.
I'm glad that you made it to the desk. I just generally I'm rolling over in bed, picking up my laptop.
Wow. What are your thoughts on like virtual happy hours? Those were really big, at least, back March, April, June timeframe. I haven't seen them as much frequently.
Yeah.
But have you been a part of any virtual happy hours or anything?
Yeah, so it's a funny one, right? So like they seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
But I think they just become really cheesy. And that's why they've kind of dropped out. Like anything that's surviving is kind of good. So it's kind of like the Friday work drinks. Like everyone got around the Friday work drinks. Everyone loves the Friday work drink.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden when you were forced to do a Friday work drink over Zoom, you're like, what? Like I want to close my laptop. Like, get away. Like I've been with you for so long now. Like, get away. So it's like kind of like when you're in your own environment, people will just like, done. So when we're forced to hang around the people that we work with for a little longer because we're having a drink in a bar, was acceptable. And then so it's funny the things that translate over to what has translated over and what hasn't. I love a good after work frothy, as we would say, with the crew.
Yes.
But
frothy with the crew.
Yeah, frothy with the boys, or with the crew.
What? The boys.
With the boys. So that's a real Australian term.
Yes.
With the boys.
With the
frothy
boys.
With the boys. So you got it over there as well. Yeah, Saturdays.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. You got that culture as well, but it's it's a funny one.
So what are some other hobbies, passions, stuff that you have?
So
outside of the podcast, I guess.
Yeah, look, a big sports fan. I love all sports. Australian sports. We've got Aussie rules. I don't know if you guys are a big part of that, or if you've know about it at all. Australian rules football is a great game. It's kind of like the best way to describe it. It's like hockey with an American football. And then, it's a 360-degree game. You've got 18 a field on each side. And it's quite like the hits are big, no padding or anything like that.
Oh, man.
So I love that. So, boys, I'd welcome you aboard if you want to the Carlton Football Club. That's who I go for. I go for Carlton. I'm a mad Carlton fan. Yeah. Okay. So, you can be honorary members. Our colours are navy blue and white.
Perfect. Works well.
We do suck at the moment, though.
Dang it!
Our history. Look, we have the most. We are the most winningest team over 100-year history. But right now we suck. So, but that's all right. We'll get better. And then, I love sports, cricket as well. Not a big US sport, but cricket. And then I love all the US sports, which basketball. I played a lot of basketball as a kid, and I love American football. As well, I really get into that. Not so big on the baseball, and I guess it's probably the same reason why you guys don't like cricket. I think it's something that you have to grow up with. It's very statistical based. Same with cricket, and it's a long game. It's patience. So that's why I guess I haven't picked that one up too quick. But I do want to go to a baseball game, Yankee Stadium, and what's the stadium in Boston?
Fenway.
Fenway
Park.
Yeah, they're on the list, and the one in Chicago as well. What's the one in Chicago? Those three stadiums I really want to see.
I saw Fenway when I went to Boston, and it's a great stadium. It's pretty cool. I went to I was a Braves fan growing up, so I went to Turner Field a couple times, which was like the Braves stadium, and then I went to Fenway. But those are the only two professional baseball stadiums I've went to.
Yeah. And Dodger Stadium as well. Like just some of that American culture, like just getting a hot dog at the game and watching the game and singing what's that song? Take me out to the ball game.
Yeah.
Take me out to the ball game and Sweet Caroline. I'm a really sports nerd when it comes to that. I love the fan experience.
The classic experience.
Yeah, I love that. Like I grew up with that here, and we've got Melbourne in particular is a really sporting culture. Basically, there's a game that we have here in Australia. We have rugby as well, and rugby league, and Queensland and New South Wales are two different states, and they play each other in like what's called a state of origin. So it's outside of their league. It's like an all-star game, but they play each other, and it's like a big spectacle, and it's like a really big clash. But every now and then they'll play that game in Melbourne, and more Melbourne people will show up to that game than they do in their own state. Right? So that's how much Melbourne people love sport. We'll get around like we'll get around anything. And horse racing's big here as well. We have a spring carnival, like a horse racing season. And that's huge here as well, which I love that too. So yeah, horse racing, everything sport, basketball, and so I get right into it all.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I noticed some of that from looking at your Instagram. I saw the pictures. You had like pictures of Antonio Brown. You had pictures of MJ with the Bulls and kind of things like that. So I was like, okay, like you're pretty big on the American sports, which is cool.
Well, yeah, like we love it here, and we got ESPN and a lot of the sports channels like Fox Sports and CBS. We get a lot of the coverage, and it's great. We absolutely love it.
What if Todd was one of us?
This segment right here, what if Todd was one of us? We have the listeners out there. They like to submit questions, things they need advice on, situations they've encountered. So they submit them, and we kind of pass them along to you, and they get the advice of Todd, which is
valueless,
priceless.
Wait, valuable. Sorry,
valueless.
I just said priceless. I said valueless.
We hate what you have to say.
Oh, I'm
Lord,
sorry,
Michael.
For legal reasons, it's probably better to say it's valueless. No one actually takes this on board.
Yeah. So this one's kind of an episode specific kind of question that we have, which flows nicely. This listener said, "I've always wanted to go to Australia, and I almost planned the trip this year until the whole COVID thing, and the traveling got shut down. I have no idea what to do there though. As an American that's never been to Australia, what do you suggest I do? Is there anything that you have to do going to Australia? Is there anything I shouldn't miss?"
Yeah, wow. Look, the possibilities are endless. Australia is obviously it's about the same size as the US, but we have a huge in each place. There's a huge divide in actually what it's like. The capital cities, from what I can imagine, I haven't been to the US myself, but the capital cities, from what I can imagine, would be mini versions of some of the major capital cities in the US. But then I think rural Australia, so heading out to the outback, seeing some of that, this is just amazing. Look at taking in some of our indigenous culture. Heading up north, and some of those things like Crocodile Dundee and crocodiles and all those sorts of things, and kangaroos and koalas and seeing all that, it would be amazing. Seeing some of our natural artifacts would be great, and then really embracing the culture in the inner cities. I guess there's not one place in Australia that I've been where I feel unsafe or not welcome.
That's good.
So I think you could almost go anywhere and have a good time. And Aussies are the type of people that we love, and we embrace things that are different. So if you're from the US and you come over here and you walk into any place and an Aussie will hear your accent, they'll welcome you with open arms, and they want to know everything about you. And we're quite inquisitive people, so we'll embrace you, and we'll want to show you a good time. So yeah, definitely. Get amongst it. I'd say focus on a lot of the rural stuff, a lot of the beauty about Australia, the east and west coast, and the Northern Territory, and then if you want something a bit more closer to home, head to the capital cities, and you'll be able to find a party, some good shopping, and the weather's not bad all over the place. So except for where I live, like Melbourne can be a bit wet, but the further up north you go. As they say, we've got a saying here, it's a good one day, perfect the next, or something like that. So yeah, the weather's always good.
And so is there starting out in Melbourne?
Say that again?
You recommend starting out in Melbourne? If I'm flying over to Australia, where should I land and kind of start
the two major airports that you'd fly into, you'd either fly into Sydney or you'd fly into Melbourne. So Sydney's your Opera House and your bridge, which Finding Nemo.
That's what I was going to say. P. Sherman, Wallaby Way.
Yeah, Wallaby Way. You can head there, and then so you either fly into Melbourne or Sydney, and then you can branch out from there. But it is a huge place to get from one end to the other. like I'm on the East Coast. To get to the West Coast, it's 4 or 5 hours by plane. So map it out accordingly. There's a lot of time that'll take. It's quite logical, but get to a AFL game. So that's in winter, our winter sports. So Australian rules football. Get to one of those, but definitely don't hesitate. Just get here, and you'll have a blast. There's so much to do. And
so
hit me up on Instagram. I'll take you out for a beer or something.
There we go. Do you have any? Is there specific cuisines or food out there? Like, should we visit an Outback Steakhouse, like authentic Australian food?
Well, I've heard about these Outback Steakhouses, and
I don't appreciate it.
We don't have bloomin' onions. I don't know what a bloomin' onion is. Like, I don't have a.
What?
Yeah, we don't have those. I don't know what that is, right? But one thing that I guess, again, like similar to the US, immigration's huge here. So we have a melting pot of food and culture. So it's great to try a lot of the food and culture here. We have a big Asian influence as well. So a lot of Asian food is great to try here as well. But I guess something that's truly Aussie that I guess you Americans don't have much, I've seen a little bit, is the meat pie. So you got to have a crack at a meat pie, but you got to get it from a country area. So what we call country, which is rural. So you got to go into like a country bakery, a small country town, and then get a meat pie from there. Don't get one from the city.
Pie.
Yeah, meat pie. So it's basically pastry, like it's like an apple pie, if you can imagine, but it's got mincemeat in the middle, or steak. So chopped up steak.
I'm on board with that.
Oh, they're unbelievable. So a bit of dead horse, tomato sauce. We call dead horse. So
I was like, wait.
We murder a horse and then we stuff it inside of pie crust.
And there's your meat pie.
So that's me, slapping on the Aussie slang. But basically a bit of sauce and a meat pie, and away you go. Great thing to try. Aussie food.
I'll have to look into that. See, that's one of the things is you don't hear about you hear about Australian, or not Australian, but you hear about Asian food. There's Spanish food, there's Italian food, but you don't know what Italian cuisine is, or Australian cuisine is. I always thought it was blooming onions. I'm clearly incorrect.
We're babies. In the grand scheme of things, we're babies. We're only 200 years old. So we're finding our feet. We don't know. We kind of don't know what we are yet, like ourselves. And I think that's what I love about being Australian, is that I'm in a period where I'm able to forge our culture with a lot of people here. So even the US, like that immigrant culture, it's we're forging and we're twisting and melting what Australia looks like. We don't have a lot of those things, but we are creating our own stuff, and I think it's going to be a little while. You look at Europe. Europe's thousands of years old. No wonder why the Italians have such a strong cuisine, or you know what Italian food is. And the same with Asia. Tens of thousands of years old. So, but sorry to let you down on the bloomin' onions, but
it's okay, I guess.
But look at meat. Like we have a lot of farming here as well. So all types of meat is big, and we have great fruit growing and vegetables and crops and these sorts of things as well. So it's a plentiful country. So anything's up for grabs.
Man,
nice.
So do you have any secret recipes or any food you like to cook that should be part of that Australian culture?
Yeah, so my mum's background is Polish. So I love I love Polish food and I love European food as well. So anything that you can kind of grow yourself and have easy access to. So I'm a big big fan of it. Italian and Polish kind of European cuisine. But I don't get into the kitchen too much myself. As you can see, I look like I enjoy food. I don't quite make a lot of food, but it's kind of that's where I'm at, where I kind of sit.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah, so we'll have to go back and jot some of these things down for my future Australian endeavors. So
yeah, just get amongst it. You'll love it down here. Just get in and embrace it with two hands and don't be shy. When you get to Australia, it's something that we we'll say, don't be shy, get in and have a crack.
Oh man,
I don't. Saying that in America would be something completely different. I think it's like, wait, is this guy doing crack drugs over here?
Yeah, it's a tough one, but have a crack here is give it your best shot.
All right, I like that better than here having a crack. So,
yeah, sorry guys.
Oh man, you know what? I'm not shy when I do, Brad.
What?
It's time to prod Todd.
Fair enough. I didn't know if you were gonna take. I didn't know if you were gonna take the crack or if you were gonna go a different route. So
there were like three things I was juggling around in my head.
yeah, I could see you panicking in your mind. Like your face, you were juggling for sure. So
I'm always juggling. And
welcome to Prod Todd.
Yeah, so this is a series of random questions. They're kind of off the wall. So I'll start with this first one. If you could swap bodies with an animal for a day, which animal would it be? Yeah, any animal.
Oh, that's really good. There's some good choices out there. I'm going to pick the most bro option possible.
Okay.
It'd be like a silverback gorilla, just because like the amount of strength and stuff. But I would really want something like an octopus, right? So that would be kind of cool. Translucent. You can change color. And if you've seen those crazy videos on the internet where they fit through like tiny holes, like on the ship.
It's insane what they do.
Yeah, so I think what I'm not going to go with the bro option. I'm going to say octopus, just because it'd be so unique to what a human body would be.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
and
8 arms and legs, or just arms. I don't know.
Yeah,
tentacly.
Oh, tentacles.
Tentacles. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good too because there's so many different things you can do. Like if you pick the silverback gorilla, like you're still experiencing how life is.
It's similar,
Right, but as an octopus, like you can, as a person, you can't do as much as an octopus can. Like you can scuba dive, this and that, but like you can never experience that life for a day, really. Yeah. And the same as if you were like a bird or some sort of other animal, like any land animal, you kind of understand, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it'd just be cool. Translucent as well, being able to change color. That'd be great.
Oh yeah,
pretty sweet.
What about you, Michael? No, you.
Me,
first.
Okay.
You seem like you would go with like a chameleon or an iguana.
Nah,
I could see you being that.
Yeah, a killer whale, and then just take it down, Todd.
You're just gonna murder him? That's the only reason you chose to be a killer whale?
Well, I thought about it before he said octopus.
Oh, I was like,
I had to stick with it now.
It's like, screw you.
It's either
you enjoy your one day.
It's either that or I think like an eagle or something. Just
because
like you got either like I can be an octopus, I can explore all the ocean, or I can be some type of bird like a eagle. They're like the alpha bird, and I can just fly around and visit all different land. I can fly over to Australia if I want to. I think that they have that capability.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it would suck. It would take a long time. They'd have to land and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to be strategic and maybe stop over in Hawaii or something.
Yeah, you'd have to plan your trip accordingly. I hope you have good directional skills.
I do, yeah. I've got a good assistant to help me with my travel plans. I'm an executive eagle.
You have a travel agent as this bird?
Yeah, that's what I do. So, what about you?
I think I would be a mole.
Oh.
Mole? What's a mole?
Yeah, because it's some sort of like ground. It's like a ground rodent. Hog? You can like dig into the ground and you can like live underground and you can see it. I think they're no, moles are blind. I think. Are they blind?
They have very small eyes. I'm looking at a Google image of a mole.
Are moles blind?
Are they?
It's funny.
Okay, they're not blind, but they can see very poorly.
Why would you want this?
I just want to see what it feels like to be able to dig through the ground and not have great vision, I guess.
To be called a mole here is not a great thing. It's a bit of it's a funny saying. So it's kind of like you're a bit of an imposter or you're not. Yeah, it's like to be called a mole. Generally, it's more something that you'd call, it's like derogatory to females, a bit more. Like, it's kind of like, you're a mole. But yeah, there you go. It's funny, but it's quite what we call bogan, which is kind of like similar to what you'd say like rednecks. So bogan rednecks are kind of similar. They're like, it's like, you mole. Would be how someone would say it. So there you go.
Do they have redneck country accents out there? Like, yeehaw, boy, the dang old badang.
We do. But
nice.
It's generally high pitched, like, hey, get on, man. How you going? All right.
Like cartoon characters.
Yeah. Actually, just generally think what a stereotypical Australian would sound like, and turn the pitch up a little bit, and that's what you get. That's you kind of. But it's funny because no one actually sounds like that. But if you ask Australia, what's a bogan Australian sound like, it'll be automatically high pitched. For some weird reason.
Nice. Well, killer whale, an octopus, and a mole. At least I can't be murdered by you, Michael. I'm just gonna be hanging out in the. You can eat Todd, but you can't eat me.
Yeah,
well. Speaking of eating, where's the weirdest place you've ever unintentionally vomited? Have you ever just randomly just thrown up or had a weird vomit experience?
Not something unintentional or weird, but I have known to vomit after a big night out. And there's one particular occasion. It wasn't pretty. My housemate wasn't too happy. So I was over refreshed at an event that we went to. A few too many cordials, we got home and I left a little surprise in the bathroom, which I can't remember what time of the morning it was, but then he got up to go to work. He worked at a cafe. He got up very early in the morning and couldn't use the bathroom because it was a mess. It looked like a murder scene. So,
good Lord.
My housemate Turbo. We love Turbo. So shout out.
Yes.
Shout out to Turbo.
Turbo.
We don't live together anymore, but Turbo is a really good mate of mine still to this day. So he'll know what I'm talking about. But love you, Turbo. Actually,
shout out Turbo.
Now that all right, now that you say that, now I've got a little bit of thinking time. I actually do have a crazy vomit story. Man. So there was this one night where I'll keep it brief. There was one night we went out to a bar, it was like a mate's bar, and we got into a bit of a lock-in situation. So the bar was closed. I won't name the bar because it's probably illegal to have a lock-in for RSA rules. But anyway, so we've had that, and he's bringing out a drink, Kashesha. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's basically made from sugarcane. And this bottle was a clear bottle and it had a prawn or a shrimp, what you'd call a shrimp, like a red shrimp on the label. I don't know what it was. And anyways, we're drinking copious amounts of this. And this particular bar that I was going to had a staircase to leave it. And I just remember getting to the top of the staircase and then closing my eyes. And the next minute I was awake in my friend's apartment. And I kind of wake up and I have a little bit of a sniff. I could smell vomit, and I felt really fresh. And my friend was asleep on a beanbag in front of me on the couch, and I looked at him, and he didn't look too good while he was asleep. So I was like, "Oh, rookie, he's vomited." Yeah, so like rookie said. So then I start to examine myself, and I've got no clothes on, and I'm naked, and I'm like, oh, okay, that can't be great. So I go to the toilet or whatever, and I come back, and the people start to wake up, and everybody's asking me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fresh as a daisy. Like this is fun." And my mate, who was the sober one, he said, "Geez, I've never seen a person vomit like that. I was projectile vomiting all over the apartment. It was like an exorcism."
Oh my gosh.
but he goes, to add insult to injury, you woke up everybody in the apartment building. And I go, "Why is that?" He goes, "Oh, you kept mumbling about how you wanted to play Funky Town on the buzzers of the apartment out the front. So it was like an apartment building with all the buzzers. And he's like, you were attempting to do the Funky Town tune on the buzzers, which I saw on an episode of South Park. It was Tally. I remember Tally. But yeah, so I was pressing everyone's buzzers and people were going, shut up, like get inside. And I finally got inside. So yeah, and this funny video that story goes on. There's a bit more of a crazier version of that story, but yeah, that's I can't probably share with you, but yeah, that's the vomit story that I have. That's pretty crazy.
Oh man,
it's quite embarrassing to put that on the internet, to be honest.
Hey, that's a good time. It sounds like you had a wonderful time.
Gosh,
just reflecting, I just sound like an alcoholic, but yeah, no.
We've all been there, done that.
Yeah. I mean, it
was in my college year, even though I didn't go to college.
I like to call them those. Yeah. I mean, we've all had that. I've had a time where I was belligerently drunk one night at a bar, and I lost all my friends. I couldn't find anybody. It gets to the point where, I mean, you drink, and you have to go to the bathroom, obviously. It was at the very end of the night. I remember like stumbling into the bathroom. It's one of those, it was like a one-person bathroom. So like the door, I had locked the door and everything. There's people beating it down. I'm standing there just trying to do a number one. And I'm just like falling. I feel myself about to throw up. And there was they had like this cheap drywall that like people have written all over. There's curse words, there's penises drawn all over it. And like, I'm standing there like wobbling back and forth. And I just punched the wall. I punch a hole in the wall for some reason. And then I just turn to the left and just throw up into the wall, into this hole in the wall that I just punched. And then I finish my number one and I zip up and I'm like, oh man, what did I just do? And they had they had this calendar of their like upcoming events, like taped to the wall. So I just picked it up and like moved it and put it over the hole and washed my hands and left. But I don't know whatever happened. Cause this was in a place we were out of town, so I've never went back there. So I don't know if they ever discovered it, if this vomit is still living in the wall. So yeah.
The staff were happy. The bussies, the bus boys and stuff were happy. They didn't have to clean it up.
Right. It's in the wall. I can't clean this.
Yeah, someone had to find it though a couple of days later. That's where it would have gotten. Yeah,
it probably got really smelly. They probably had to the building probably had to be taken down. Yeah, they had to just close. They closed. They couldn't afford the renovations.
Look what you've done, Brad.
Thinking back on it, like I shouldn't have done that, but
you shut down a small business.
You don't make good decisions when you're intoxicated.
That's one where you just got to patch up the hole and hope the smell goes away.
I thought I did. I thought by putting the calendar over it, I was doing a great job. I'm clearly not a wall expert.
I like it. Yeah. Well done on the movie calendar though, but.
Yeah, I mean, you get to that point where it's drunk ingenuity, where you feel like you can do anything you do. You're like, I can make this work. And that's why so many bad things either happen or bad or good things happen when people are drunk. Like you get all these good ideas. Like you were talking earlier that you created the Toddcast under the influence. And then there's the other side of the spectrum where I'm punching holes in walls and vomiting into it. So it's really you can go either way.
That's right. Just drink responsibly, folks. I think that's the lesson from that.
Yeah. What about you, Michael? Is there any stories about you not drinking responsibly?
No, and I don't think I've ever unintentionally vomited either. It's all been very intentional. I have unintentionally pissed myself though. I was giving blood at a blood drive back in my college years, as they call them, and so I went in. I've never given blood before. I don't know if y'all have given blood, but I didn't know like you sit there and you have to like squeeze it out of you. Basically, give you this whole thing. You're basically pumping your blood out, and that freaked me out. And like, so I started, I'm squeezing, and I looked down, and like my blood's just going all over the floor. She never connected the bag to it, and I'm like, oh man, now I'm getting squeamish. I didn't know I was afraid of blood until now. And then so I like fill up the bag. She like fixes that, fills up the bag, and I like get up, walk over to the area where there's snacks. And this lady's like telling me what snacks they got. And I'm like, hold up. And I sit down, put my head down on the table, black out. And then I like wake up and it's like I'm coming out of like a dream, like coming out of water or something. And then I'm like getting like lifted up into a wheelchair by some person. I'm like getting dragged. I'm like, did I just fucking piss myself? And like they're like, yeah, because I felt like something going on. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. And then like they had to like go get me shorts. And then they had to like, I'm like walking out and there's some poor lady mopping that area. And I'm like, oh gosh.
So this was from giving blood?
Yeah, it was. I've never.
I
given
thought
blood
this was
since.
like, of course, that you're gonna have PTSD from that. You can't recover from that.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah. So anyone out there, that's a cautionary tale for if you give blood, be mindful. You may end up pissing yourself.
That's true.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
I haven't told that story in a very long time.
Well, I can see why.
Now I can just refer people to this episode.
Like, listen to this one.
Oh man. Well, all right. So unintentional vomiting and urination. So the next question we have here.
It's like we're all stumped. Where do we go from here?
I think we go to this logical next one, which is, what are 3 questions that you would ask an alien?
Oh, jeez. I like this. This is good. This is juicy.
Juicy. It's a lot of juice here.
I am a bit of an alien. I am an alien believer. I'm not a.
I thought you were just going to reveal on the podcast that you were an alien. We were about to get so many views.
Yeah. I put that monolith in Utah. That was me.
Yes. Okay, that was you. All right. We were wondering about that.
Yeah, that was me. No. So, what I would ask an alien. Probably the first question would be like something real silly, like, so like, how long did it take to get here? Would you have a safe flight? You know what I mean? Like something you'd ask.
Super nice. Yeah.
Yeah, something you'd ask anyone. Like anyone that's traveled over. How was the flight? Right? It was good. Yeah. In-flight movie was all right. Yeah, good. Yeah, sweet. Just get that out of the way. Yeah. And then basically, what do you want? Why have you come here? I guess is why. Yeah. Like, why have you come here? And then, what's it like where you are? I guess they're the first couple of questions, and I think I'd have a bag of questions after that. But I think they're the most important ones. Why and how and so forth. But that'd be amazing. And I actually have a little bit of a theory, is kind of go deep on this one. But I have a bit of a theory that I think us humans won't be able to establish like world peace as such until we are visited by an alien force or extraterrestrial, because it's kind of like it's like this theory that I have about grouping. Everyone kind of conforms in smaller groups, and then I guess once we understand, like, that will then give us the mentality that we are a particular group. Like this is us. Because at the moment we're kind of like identified by like countries and so forth, and borders and things and languages and religions and stuff. And we kind of combine by that. So I think once we have that kind of that visit, we would then be like, oh, well, we're just kind of all living beings here. Animals or humans alike. We're earthlings. I think we'll then be able to identify. That's one thing that you never hear anyone identify as an earthling, and I think that will come into play. So I think that'd be pretty cool.
And see, like, whenever you were talking about that, I was like, oh, I had the same kind of thought in like the whole grouping thing, but mine was in kind of if the aliens came to like take over the Earth, because then like it's all of the humans together versus the aliens, rather than like Americans versus the aliens or this versus that.
You guys would probably try and make it Americans versus the aliens. Like,
how dare you?
That'd be a real American thing to do.
We would never.
To fight for our freedom. But yeah, no. Look, I think that if aliens did decide to visit, if they gave us the time to communicate, I think that they're not here to take over. I think we would. If they've got the ability to travel here, they've got the ability to end us pretty quickly. So I hold out hope that they're like, I think humans are a warrior culture. I think we're warriors at heart. So, if I had to define who we are, we're quite aggressive. So we like to kill and destroy first.
Yeah.
And then, so I think that if another life force was to visit here, I think their nature might be a bit better. And they might look to improve. And maybe that's, this goes a bit deep, but maybe that's why we haven't been visited. Is because they're just like, these guys are so primitive. Like what's the point? Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And they'll just try and fight us.
I was just thinking about that. We had a question with Todd Balls about, do you think aliens could defeat, or humans could defeat aliens in a war? So I don't know why we're having alien questions with the Australians, but yeah, our question to him was, do you think humans could defeat aliens?
No. It depends where it is. If the battle's here, then no. Because I think
space battle.
If it's like wherever you fight, like we're not that good. Like
I don't know. We'll have home planet advantage though.
Yeah, but then like what our best weapon is like a nuke, and that destroys our own mass. So it's kind of like I think we're cooked. Unless look, we do have some good characters. Like we've got Bruce Willis. We could get Bruce Willis, and we've got some on our side.
That's the first. Imagine the aliens just landing, and the news is just like, send in Bruce Willis, and he's like, send in Bruce.
Like, send in Bruce Willis. Vin Diesel. Like we got Vin Diesel. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like get Vin Diesel. Like
he would just drive cars around him.
Yeah, guys like that. That's who I want on my team.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Are there any who actually defeated? Are there any movies where we defeated the aliens?
Well, Independence Day, didn't Will Smith?
Yeah, Will Smith. So we can keep Will Smith around. Men in Black. So we need him. Black, yeah. We need Tommy. Will Smith seems to be like at the.
What was that?
This is my dog being upset at me. He's upset that I mentioned Will Smith. He's an alien.
This is getting spooky, man. I think we're on to the winning formula. The dog's is like, keep it down.
Whoa. He knows something.
What do you know?
Yeah, but.
So we'll keep that in mind. Will Smith is the key to alien defeature.
Hopefully it's peaceful. Hopefully it's peaceful. If they visit us, hopefully it's peaceful. And because I think, like I was saying, if you can master space travel, then you've mastered a pretty big technology set, which you'd probably dominate. So,
like that.
Well, this question kind of goes along with aliens, possibly. It's a would you rather question. So, would you rather have 12 toes, 12 fingers, or 3 nipples?
I'm going to roll with 3 nipples. It's the easiest one to hide, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and nipples.
It's on your forehead.
The nipples on my forehead.
The dreaded forehead nipple.
Yeah, I don't mind that. You look at Indian culture. They made a basically a fashion statement out of the red dot. So you know what, I'll roll with that. And there's a good imagine that. Like that'd be kind of cool. Like you could sit there and like just like scratch it, like bit of thinking.
It's like, what's this guy over here is. It's
also an erogenous zone. So now you're just like,
are you right?
thinking?
Like, this guy's just doing the thinker, but he's really,
he's really,
I think better when I'm turned on.
Yeah.
The three nipples.
It would be cool if it had like a cool power, like it could shoot webs or like it could like shoot laser beams or something. Like Spider-Man.
But why do men have nipples?
It's just a fashion.
It's just
it's just for the Imagine being shirtless and just like, oh, that guy's. I mean, if we never had nipples, then it would be normal, I guess. Like if we just remove nipples now.
Is that like the point where we're stitched up? Like that's a join. That's like where the joins are.
Yeah,
that's why we have to have.
Gotta have nipples, like.
Yeah, but like, why do men have them? Like, it doesn't make sense.
They're just. I guess you develop them and they're just like, oh, are these going to be like breasts or are these just going to be like man breasts?
Did we have them? Did we have them as like we never evolved out of them, but we had them because like, if the female, didn't want to feed, we could just, as a little dummy, like almost like a pacifier. Just jump off for a sec.
It's a placebo effect.
Yeah.
Placebo nipple. So like, you little baby's playing up, jump on for a sec. Just be quiet. Is that why we have them? I don't know. Who knows?
I sure hope not.
They don't do anything, right?
No, they're just there. They can be stimulated, I think.
Yeah.
They're just there for stimulation purposes.
You think?
Is it there to tell? Maybe it's there as is it a weather to tell the weather? Oh, it's cold. Yeah,
it's so cold.
I don't know.
It's weird that they do that. They're like, oh, let me go into defense mode and try to warm myself up by getting super hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that the default? I don't know.
Yeah, nipples be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I had some mates that when we used to play footy, that their footy being football, their nipples would chafe in the jersey.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I've heard about that.
They'd have to tape them up. And I'm like, what's the point of that? That would hurt. And they're taking the tape off. Yeah. But there you go.
Maybe they're those kind of people that like the pain.
They're like,
they're just wearing nipple clamps and playing footy.
No pain, no gain.
That's what I've always said.
Yeah. Well, speaking of nipples, what's your favorite smell?
Well, it's a man's nipple, of course.
Yeah, man's nipple.
You ever smelt a dude nipple? Bro nipples are where it's at.
I've got a couple of favorite smells actually. One of my favorite smell is funny, revolves around sport. When you go to a sporting game, just before the bounce. So we have a bounce to start the game. So it's similar to a tip-off in NBA, but they'll bounce the ball on the ground and then the ball will go up in the air and that will be a tip-off basically in AFL. And then there's a really loud siren that will play before that to signify the start of the game. So it's like, and then they'll bounce the ball. So just like when that siren sounds, if anyone who watches AFL will know this, and then if you're at the game and you just take a big inhale there, that smell. So you've got like anticipation in the air. You've got like grass. You've got like some like sweaty dude next to you.
Yes.
Like just a mixture of like
nip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a big nipple, like smell of a big it's like it's just this huge, it's just this smell. And it's just kind of more of an atmosphere, you know. And I love that smell. And I even say to my friends when I go to the game and they think I'm a little bit weird, I'm like, just take it in. Like at this point, I'm like, just a big inhale and that smell. So maybe, you know, at the start of an NFL game, and that might have a similar effect. So next time you're at a game, take a big inhale before the first drive and the kickoff.
Trying to think back to the games I've been to and trying to see if there's any distinguishable smells.
Yeah, but I don't know, like that. And then, like I think the smell of the ocean is a big one.
Yeah.
Something about the ocean. It's not a pleasant smell.
Yeah, it could be not good sometimes.
Yeah, but it's just something about it that it just hits you. It hits deep, you know. It just
smells like freedom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it hits different. So
you stand. I think smells really go with how a situation is. Like and they say something about like the smell sense is one that can store or it can refresh so many different memories in your past.
Yeah.
Like smells are really connected to nostalgia and things like that. So like when you do stand on a beach, you feel like, I don't know, it's an indescribable feeling. So I can understand why the smell of the ocean is like one you would relate to being good, even if it smells like dead octopi and a crab.
Yeah.
I saw
a question the other day, which was a great question. And it's similar to on this topic was like recharging. Like where would you like to recharge? Would it be a forest or the ocean?
Oh yeah.
And then kind of like that, there's something about looking at a big body of water, like the ocean, or the beach or whatever, that it does recharge the batteries. And then also then the forest, or like I don't know if you've ever taken your shoes off in deep nature. So like where you get right into the soil and
you feel really connected with it.
Yeah. There's something recharging about that as well. So I'll ask you guys, I don't know, where would you rather recharge, a forest or the ocean?
See, I'm a big forest guy. I think I have a lot of nostalgic experiences where we go to cabins in like the deep forest, and you just you feel almost secluded, and you feel like you don't, like everything kind of, the stress of cities, the stress of like life kind of just goes away.
Yeah.
And I've tried to find that at the ocean, but you're usually oceans in
crowds.
The US, there's crowds, and it's right there on like a on a big boardwalk where there's buildings everywhere. So you don't really feel escaped from anything. You feel you're still right there, I guess. Yeah. So that's why the forest is for me. Like it's great.
Yeah,
so
I'm
good.
the same way. I'm like mountains, forest. I mean, just the views. Like you feel like you're just out there alone and just like getting to see like for miles and miles. And like so many differences. Like you can look this way and it's a different view than that way. Whereas the ocean to me is just like I'm like, oh,
now
water.
Now I will put out there that like going to the beach at night or first thing in the morning is probably one of the best feelings. Like 100%. If you're like one of the few people out there and it's like it's that is an amazing feeling actually. So I'm getting my nips are getting stimulated thinking about it.
being an island country, even though we're huge, like it's absolutely massive, but our population is quite small. You know, we're only like 26 million, I think, and we're the size of the US. So you know, however, like how many people in New York? Like 26, like about that.
Probably
about that just in New York.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then our country's, you know, the size of the US. So, you can find yourself secluded pretty easily. It's not hard to be alone. So then that, I guess that beach setting or that stretch of ocean or that beach, you can be on your own pretty quickly. And that's one cool thing about Australia. It's like you only have to travel about an hour from anywhere and you can be alone pretty quickly. Like
that's nice.
That's nice.
You know, there's not many places. Yeah, there's not many places where you could like. There is some where if you travel more than an hour, you're still in a suburban or a city aspect. But most places, you travel an hour, then you're out there. So that's how small we are in comparison. It blows my mind every time. You know, when I speak to people from real populated places. But yeah,
nice. Man. Yeah. So I think that was we got a little insightful on that one. We went from nipples to insightfulness, and now we're going to. If you could choose a roommate, which one would it be? Jonah Hill or Jack Black?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I'm actually Jables. What does he call himself? Jable and Jables or something? I've been watching his YouTube clips. YouTube clips recently. He seems cool, but he seems like on a lot of the time. Like he's that character. So but I don't know like if that's just the persona that you see because that's what's recorded. But he seems like I don't think I'd like that for a little bit. I don't think I could keep up with that long term. Where I think Jonah Hill would have some good ups and downs and stuff and he'd get a little emo for a little bit and then he'd get a little fun for a little bit, Like I kind of like that. I think I could resonate a bit better with that. I have been called a bit of Jonah Hill lookalike when he was in War Dogs at one point. So,
nice.
Being a bigger dude is kind of like thing. And a lot of people watch that movie and it was funny that the way that they'd say it to me, they're like, "Oh, you should see that movie War Dogs, Jonah Hill." Da da da. I'm like, yeah, good movie. And they're like, yeah, you really remind me of that character. I'm like, dang, he's not the greatest actor in that movie either. Like, I'm like, oh, really like that? I'm like, damn, bro. How about Jonah Hill in Wolf of Wall Street? Like, maybe I'm a bit closer to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say people are like, oh, you look like that guy in 21 Jump Street. It's like, oh, Channing Tatum. Like, no, the other guy.
We put on a lot of weight for War Dogs, so I think that's where it come. And previous to this addition of the beard, I just had some terrible face stubble. So, but my beard's actually pretty patchy. But like I'm trying.
It's looking nice though.
It's getting better. Look, it is getting a lot better. I think you've just got to keep going with the beard. It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is tough.
It's getting hot here now. It's starting to get sweaty. So, I've got to shave it, reveal that nipple on my cheek. So,
on the cheek now,
the dreaded cheek nipple.
You don't shave it off when you're getting rid of that beard.
So Jonah Hill, 100%. I think Jonah Hill better than Jack.
I'm a big Jonah Hill fan. Michael, of course, you're going with Jack Black.
What it is, Jack Black.
If anyone has listened to any of the episodes, he will quote School of Rock anytime. So him and Jack Black.
Yeah,
him and Jack Black would just be going balls deep.
Yeah, I would convert my house into the School of Rock, and there you go.
What if you were at the School of Rock? What instrument do you think you'd be allocated to? You know, he allocates the jobs.
Man.
Ooh.
Initially, like at the time, and I think I first saw it like back in middle school, and I was like real into electric guitar then. So I would think that, but nowadays I'm more of a piano guy. So I'd just be over there doing the little,
yeah. Asian kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good role. That's sharp. I like it.
Yeah. Me and that kid have a personality, similarities for sure.
Yeah, you have a very Asian personality.
What? Excuse me?
I don't know what that means.
I bet he was an awkward kid.
Oh, I thought you were just. I don't know, man.
Oh Lord, but yeah.
I'm not the.
Tom brought up a good point about Jack Black. That's a lot to handle. If that's like 24/7, he's like or whatever he does. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It just seems like he's always on cocaine. Like, I don't understand how he is always like that. And these like crazy videos of him like dancing like in his underwear and stuff outside. Like, yeah, that's cool for a while, but like it's 3 a.m. Jack. Like, go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put some pants on. I can see your D hole. So
watching him play Red Dead Redemption is actually quite fun. He has it on his YouTube. He streams him playing. It's entertaining. But yeah,
I might have to check that out. Actually, I like Red Dead. So
yeah,
Jack Black, super entertaining. Yeah, it's like one way to watch it. It's also this whole segment's been rather odd, Todd. Oh. And so is this next one.
What do you expect? The last 3 letters of my name. Come on.
Well, then you'll like this next segment.
That's odd, Todd.
But will he like this segment, Brad?
I don't know if he will like this segment because this is the dreaded 2 truths and 1 lie segment.
Oh no! We're rolling with it.
So we're ready to hear what you have to say, and we're gonna see who can guess the lie, or they might all be lies. Who knows with you right now?
Jeez, I haven't given a great impression. Hey, this guy's just full of shit. Nice. Well, then let's go on with that theme. So it was funny that off air, like I was dreading this segment. We had a bit of a banter off air. Is that your dog? Oh, what's your dog's name?
Yeah, Copper. He's the one that was yelling at us earlier during the alien talk. So
I'm not avoiding the topic, but what type of dog's that?
He's a beagle.
Oh, he's a beagle, little beagle. Look at him, little Copper.
Yeah, he wants to chew on everything. He's very
nice.
upset. He's made an appearance every video now because he is new and he wants attention for everything. So
is this your way of getting our audio listeners to check out the YouTube channel now?
Check out the YouTube. There is a dog. He is doing stuff.
All right, so two truths, 1 lie. Number 1, I partied with Dennis Rodman in a strip club in Melbourne. Here in Melbourne, a strip club called Kittens. There you go.
All right.
So, when I was younger, I was 21, 22. I earned $250,000 in 12 months, like with work. And one night at the casino, I lost $50,000. But I won money, but then lost like about $50,000 at a casino in one night.
Ooh.
No. All right. So
were you net positive or was that net negative after that?
I walked out. I actually walked out even.
Oh my gosh.
The biggest bullshit a gambler ever told was he walked out even.
I lost 50.
Yeah, I've never lost.
How did you go? Even. We had a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
I did walk out down, but it relatively even after losing.
Walked out with less money, but hey, we're gonna.
Oh, you just muted yourself.
Oh, Brad muted.
Why is everyone muting themselves?
I dropped my hand onto my keyboard and hit the old space bar. So
your 12th finger.
Yeah, I got someone that would never happen if I had a third nipple. So
there you go.
Yeah, so hanging out with D-Rod, strip club, getting, what was it, $250,000?
$250,000, yeah, when I was 21, 22 in business. And then
Losing
the casino.
Okay. Man.
2 and 3 sound like they could be related. But 1 and 3 also sound related too, because people that go to strip clubs also enjoy going to casinos.
Yeah.
That's what I've always heard.
I wonder if he spent 50,000 at the strip club.
So he walked out of there a net negative as well. So
That's a big night. That's a big night. That one. That's a big night.
he actually came out of there with more money because he was showing off his third nipple and just racking in money. It's like, yo, let's see that third nip.
People were throwing money his way. All right, man.
I can. One seems believable because I mean it's Dennis Rodman. If you're gonna hang out with Dennis Rodman, it's gonna be at a strip club. So,
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think you seem more responsible than someone that would lose 50K at a casino. So I'm gonna go with that lie.
Okay, and I am going to go with. I'm going to go with the 250K in 12 months. It's either it was slightly more or slightly less.
Yeah, okay. He could get me on a technicality, but no. Unfortunately, the lie was number one.
Dang it!
I almost went with that.
It didn't happen to me, but it happened to a very close friend of mine. And I was so upset that it wasn't me. I'd rather hang out with Dennis Rodman. But yeah, a very close friend of mine, Dennis Rodman, was in town, and he just happened to be at a night spot at the same time. And my friend's not shy and went up to him and said hello. And yeah, they had a good night. They just kind of hung out for a couple of hours. And apparently, Dennis Rodman was awesome, which I could imagine. So
yeah, I could see him being awesome.
He'd just be a cool cat. There, the recent Chicago Bulls documentary was brilliant, So I think he'd be awesome. But the other two, the $250,000 in a short amount of time in 12 months. I kind of, when I was young, I started a business early. When I first started my career, I got promoted to a level of incompetence. I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Yep.
And then just kind of faked it till I made it. And then all of a sudden started a business with a couple of people, and we developed this deal that was almost too good to be true, but it worked in our favor, and we maximized it pretty quickly. And it's funny. Momentum's a pretty scary thing. You just keep rolling and away you go. But then within that, the reason why number three, the 50,000, as is one of you said that they could be related, happened is because I was so young and foolish at the time. That I would go and I was earning $250K a year, and I was living paycheck to paycheck. So
yeah,
goodness,
so had a lot of fun times.
Living it up, man.
Had a lot of fun times, but yeah, and then that spoilt me for a little bit. For the next 5 or so 6 years, I didn't have a good value for what hard work was. It's just that we had this momentum, and then. And then I kind of was really spoiled, and so forth. And now, working hard to kind of get back on track. But that was a long time ago now. I was in my early 20s. I'm 33 now. But the night at the casino was a big one. We had a couple of big wins early, and then it lasted two days. We went on a 2-day heater, and we started out on a heater, and got the bankroll up to about 50K, we're buying. I had a few friends with me as well at the time, so buying bottles and dinners and this and that, and we just the casino. They're very good at keeping you there.
That's one thing they're good at.
Yeah, especially because we won the money with not a lot to start with. So we only had a couple of $1,000s to start with, and we got lucky on some roulette, and then we're playing blackjack and this and that. And
dang,
yeah, it was a fun weekend though. It was one of the best weekends I've ever had. So it's all fun memories.
That's pretty sweet. And I think a lot of us can learn one thing from this: is go to strip clubs more often, and maybe you will you'll encounter a celebrity.
Yeah, that seems like
yeah. Because if you would have been out that night, you would have been partying with Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, exactly. And that, how did I miss that? Like, what an opportunity. But yeah, he's the man.
So, yeah, he is a good dude. So, old D-Rod, if you're listening, thanks.
If I got a question for you guys. Out of the big three, obviously we had Rodman, Pippen, and Jordan. Who would you want to be? Would you want to be MJ, Pippen, or Jordan? Oh, MJ, Pippen, or Jordan. Would you be Rodman, Pippen, or MJ?
Rodman seems like the most fun, but I mean, how can you not? And Pippen seems like the least
Jordan's
fun.
a classic, though.
Yeah. Pippen kind of gets like pushed. I mean, he's there. He's prominently there, but like he gets like pushed to the side.
Yeah.
Like because Dennis Rodman had all the crazy antics, all the hairstyles, the marriage and marrying himself. And then you have just MJ, who is just like, he's MJ.
Yeah.
Just so I would go with
face jam.
LeBron. I would go with LeBron James.
No,
I would LeBron James. Yeah, no, I would definitely go with actually I would take the Dennis Rodman route because he just seems like he's living it up. I mean, I don't want to be friends with Kim Jong-un, but but I mean, if I'm Dennis Rodman, I'm gonna have to be. So
yeah. See, I'm with you on that.
Oh, nice.
Rodman as well.
Yeah, I mean, MJ's a stereotypical answer.
Yeah, but it's like a kind of like a cautionary tale for life, isn't it? Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like you got MJ, who's like, yeah, you could be MJ, but the amount of dedication and hard work that he puts in, does he not smell the roses along the way in his life?
Yeah.
You know,
and a lot of his teammates saw him in a negative light for a while, like with all the how much, especially from the documentary, you see how negatively he was viewed at some points in his career. Yeah. So, and
then you got Scotty, like you said, he just doesn't seem like he's a whole bag of fun.
Yeah, he's just there. He's like, oh hey, I'm Scottie Pippen. It's like, oh, what's up?
Yeah, and then you got Dennis, who's basically the biggest YOLO guy of all time. You know?
Oh yeah. And that's the way to live. You just YOLO it.
Yeah. So what do you do? Yeah, that's actually a good question. You should ask that to your next guest.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep that one in the front pocket. Front shelf.
We'll have to prod a Todd with that.
Having said that, though, can I actually show you something real quick?
Yes.
He's
for the audio listeners. He's pulling out his third nipple.
It is way hairier than I thought.
in my studio, I've got some cool artwork. I don't know if you can see that there.
Oh, dang.
That's sick. I like that.
It's a Picasso MJ.
That's freaking sweet.
So there's a Toronto-based artist, Drake Serial. You can look him up on Instagram, Drake Serial, and she does some really cool artwork. And that was one of my purchases. So that's in the studio. But
that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, the MJ Picasso. I just saw it and I had to have it. I was like, yeah, that's great. There you go.
Yeah, we've kind of touched on some ways to be a little more, I guess, wise about what we do, wise about our choices, wise about who we want to be in life. And now I think it's time to hear some wisdom from you.
In Todd We Trust.
Yeah, so I know Brad tried to give us some good advice about going to strip clubs more and all that in the last segment, but maybe Todd, you'll have some more applicable and better advice to leave the listeners.
Can't top it.
The wisdom. Look, this one's hard because I think that I'm so far from nailing life. Like, so I guess I guess for some reason this is a catchphrase that I'm stealing off somebody else. But basically, just be yourself because everybody else is taken. I think it is a really important. It's just a really important thing to be, and just don't be afraid to be yourself. Whoever that is, because I think we're all trying to discover that along the journey of who we actually are and what we actually are. And I think if you look back over your lifetime, it's not that I'm old or anything, but if you look back, I know that I've lived probably 2 or 3 different lives. I've been 2 or 3 different types of people in that journey. Yeah. So I think it's just be yourself and don't be ashamed of who you actually are.
Yeah.
I know I've had some issues with it over the past, like just a little bit of personal stuff. But yeah, I think that's something that I try to tell myself more as I'm getting older. And another one is be where your feet are. So just being present.
Be present,
Not too much in the future and not too much in the past. That's something I'm trying to work on now in my 30s. Is being true to yourself and who you are, and then just being where your feet are, and just acting in the moment.
Yeah.
Especially
like
today
that.
with all the countless distractions that we can use. And I kind of think not being present, I think, takes you away from being yourself, because then you're getting into all these comparisons when you're either on social media or whatever. Like now you're comparing yourself to someone else. Now you're like, maybe I should be more like that. So I think those go hand in hand pretty well.
They do. That was a great way of connecting those, because I didn't even think about that. But
yeah,
that's definitely true. If you're not present and you're being distracted by social media, comparing yourself, and just being hard on yourself, you're not gonna be who you truly are. And
that's it.
I think that's good stuff.
Yeah.
And also,
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, you brought up now that you're over 30, that you're trying to change things. And I think, is that what people are supposed to do? Like, as soon as you turn 30, like, you just start like thinking, like, what am I supposed to, because like I turned 30 in June. And ever since then, I've changed my perspective on a lot of things. Yeah. It's weird, but I don't know if that's just part of like hearing that and feeling like, okay, I'm at a stage in my life where I need to do this, and this.
Yeah, that's it.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and then the recent events with COVID and stuff has kind of put another perspective on things. So and then it's kind of changed a lot of the, I guess, society in terms of what's achievable, and then we touched on earlier about adapting and working remotely and these sorts of things. Now these are possible. They're not just a wacky idea. Yeah, so then it changes the dynamic on, well, do I have to live in a big city? Can I be a bit more nomadic in my approach? Can I move around? I don't have to report to one central location every day. So what does that look like? One of the things I'm toying with the idea, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but is I wouldn't mind getting a motorhome and traveling around Australia for a bit.
Yeah.
So
that'd be awesome.
I was in a long-term relationship and I had a house, and we were planning to have kids and so forth, and that didn't happen for one reason or the other, and now I'm in a position where I'm like, you know what, like maybe just embrace being a bachelor and do something that people wish that they could do, and now with opportunities of work, you can be a bit more nomadic in what you do. So
that's true.
So it's kind of like it's funny. I guess 2020 has been a great a year of perspective. It gives you it's made you look at things in a different light, or completely altogether.
Yeah, definitely.
It's deep.
Yeah, it'll be 2021 will be a lot better, I think.
Yeah, well, I've enjoyed 2020 as much as possible. There's been some low things, but I'm going to try and just take the positives away and getting back to what I was saying, just being where your feet's at. Like, who cares what happens? What has happened? You can't do anything about the past. You can do very little about the future, but you can only you can control what happens right now.
That's right.
Bam.
Dang. Well, be yourself, because everyone else is taken, and be where your feet are. That's
there's an Aussie podcaster who finishes most of his episodes with that advice. So that's why I said I stole that. It just that be yourself, everybody else is taken. That's his kind of little catchphrase. But I like it so much. Yeah, I like it so much that when you ask me for sage advice or wisdom, as you guys were saying, I'm going to give that, because I don't have anything else from the top drawer that I have, because like I said, I'm just trying to work it out myself.
Well, we'll give you credit for it, though.
Yeah, and also we'll give you a nod for that.
It's time to give a nod to Todd.
Take that.
Take
that nod. Just cutting you off with our drops.
How dare you?
Yeah. What, you're going to give me a nod and then cut me off at the same time? What?
That's right.
Come on.
That's how it's done.
You break even. You're just breaking even there. So, yeah. No, but thanks for taking the long trip from Australia over to the U.S. to be here today.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it. I know it wasn't easy, and I know you. Did you enjoy this?
Did I enjoy this? Yeah, loved it.
Perfect. I didn't know if you did or not. I was waiting for the answer. So
that was a good yarn.
I think we had a good time, and it was nice hearing some of the. It's nice hearing from somebody that I guess that's done the podcasting side, because we kind of talked on that. That was cool to like talk to a fellow podcaster, kind of talk about how things start, what your future is, what your inspiration is, and do we paper scissors rock for the name? Oh, we might have to. We'll meet up somewhere and duel.
Wait, what's your Instagram? Hang on, what's your Instagram handle? What do you got? Toddcast podcast or something? Eh?
Yeah, we're at the Toddcast pod.
Yeah, pod. Yeah, I got Toddcast. Yeah. I have to go underscore. I was going to say maybe I can give you like my name or something. My Instagram name.
We're actually following. Who is it? That we follow everybody basically that has Todd, Toddcast, Todd Pod, anything. So
actually, look, this is probably a boring topic for the loyal listeners, but why Todd? Like, how did you come up with what's the like? What
the same reason I think everyone else has used Todd, other than us being named Todd. It rhymes with Todd.
Yeah, but what was your idea about interviewing Todds? Like, obviously, did you come up with the name Toddcast first, and then you're like, oh, just interview Todd?
Okay, right. We were like, okay, the idea sounds good. What are we going to do with it though? And then we're like, let's just find random people named Todd on Instagram and interview them. We'll ask them all these crazy questions. We'll learn about them. We'll ask them for wisdom.
And this was like not like a serious meeting or anything. We were just sitting there like, let's make a Rodcast or a Codcast or like all that. And then we said Toddcast. And then we were
like, wait.
Yeah. And then we're like, wait, let's do that. And then by that weekend we were interviewing, like we had 4 Todds we interviewed like from that like Wednesday to Friday.
Is there a common theme of why people are named Todd? Like, have you come up like?
Wait, I mean, it's dependent on the age. I mean, we've had a lot of people bring up the age of it. Like, it's an older name, or it's a name that came around in this time period. But the origin of it being like Fox or like Sly or something like that. But there hasn't been a real common theme on. I mean, if you listen to any of the episodes, like everybody's completely different. Like, the name doesn't define the person, but I don't know. It's pretty intense.
Well, my dad named me Todd because of a footballer here that we have called Todd Viney.
Nice.
There's a player called Todd Viney. He liked him, and he liked the name Todd, so he called me Todd. And if I was going to be a girl, I would have been called Lauren.
I could see that.
Yeah, well, thanks.
I can see that.
I'll give you something though. I'll give you something that other Todds may not have, but they can pick that up. They can use this, right?
Okay.
Yes. Oh, and another thing too about the name Todd, right? Like, it grinds my gears when people spell it with 1 D. Like,
you got to have 2 Ds.
Yeah, like pull your head in. It's 2 Ds, right? That's how you spell it. Like, if you spell with 1 D, like, that's silly, right? Yeah. Anyways. But because I've got a Polish background, my babcia, which is grandmother, she wasn't too happy with the name Todd. So that's my mom's mum, and so she said to my dad's like, oh, well, why you pick stupid name? She's with in her accent, and then he's like, I like the name, blah blah blah, and she goes, no, I call him Toddka, so Todka, so just like vodka.
Yeah, right. Toddka.
But Toddka. So I don't know how many Toddkas there are in the world, because it's not traditionally a Polish name. But there you go. So Toddka is my Polish name. So any of my Polish relatives or family, they call me Toddka. And there you go. So Toddka.
Well, I think you need, if things are going to be so pun based here, you need to create a Todd based vodka. Called Toddka.
Toddka vodka.
Why have you not done that?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Toddcast podcast, Toddka vodka, like it's so marketable.
Yeah, I drink a lot of vodka, so it makes sense. It makes sense. But yeah, Toddka vodka, that actually has got a bit of a ring to it.
Yeah, keep that in the back pocket. We'll
roll into a bar. What are you drinking? What are you drinking, boys? A couple Toddcas.
It rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah. We'll catch up on tonight. A couple Toddcas.
And another thing that rolls right off the tongue is Todd's Instagram handle, which is at Toddcast _. Find him on Instagram. He has a link tree in his bio, which will bring you to his YouTube page. It will bring you to his podcast. Give it a listen. I've listened to a couple of them. I enjoyed. I think it's a good time. And
did you? Which ones did you enjoy?
I listened to the most recent one, the one with the booker.
Tom Morris,
yeah, Tom. And I thought that was interesting. It was nice to hear some of that. I listened to a little bit of the first couple ones.
With some mates. So, they were fun. I'll have to get you boys on. We'll have to link up after this and get you boys on. I'll do a Zoom one, and it'd just be great to have a chat about a couple of different topics.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can either take us both at the same time, or we can split it off. So it's up to
you. Good way to rack up a couple of episodes.
Yeah, you got 2 episodes right here.
You got 2 guests. Boom. Yes.
So
almost to 100.
Yeah, so everyone out there, go ahead and give him a listen, give him a follow on Instagram. And while you're on Instagram, go ahead and give us a follow at the Toddcast Pod. Subscribe to the Toddcast on any of the platforms you listen to podcasts. Drop a review right in there, right in the old review hole. 5 stars are preferable, but we accept all stars.
Recommend on YouTube as well.
All stars.
I was getting there.
Stars meaning all the stars are ticked. So that's 5 stars.
Yes. Either 5 stars or all of the stars, but that's all. So check us out we're on all the podcasting platforms. We're on YouTube now, so you can watch us here, see our faces. You see Todd's gorgeous face there. His 3rd nipple made an appearance, so you get to see that. And so recommend us to your friends. And with that being said,
go Pats.
With that, I'm Michael.
I'm Brad.
I'm Todd.
And he is Todd. Yes, he is.
That's right.
Oh.
Ba, ba, ba.
Oh.